Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Just want to remind everybody that tonight at 7:35 is the Joe and Joe Weather Show, where we deal with more major storms in the West. Rain on Thursday into Friday, later on Thursday into Friday in the East, and we'll be talking about the long range and the Joe Weather Show and Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, Long Island's largest rock salt source with all the great snow and ice melt products, snow blowers, shovels, spreaders, and other supplies that you may need during this winter if we ever do get see a winter storm in the eastern part of the United States. 631-756-1125 is the phone number and the website omnitruevalue.com. Going to start with a little bit of the overall pattern in the upper atmosphere and how it reflects in the long range. And the thing I want to point out here, we're looking at the atmosphere way up at 25,000 feet. And the standout here in the Pacific is this raging jet that extends from Japan all the way east to the west coast. And we've been seeing storm after storm smacking into California. When you have a raging jet like this, what we often refer to as a fire hose, when you have this kind of setup, it's not favorable for winter weather in the eastern part of the United States in general. But one of the things that we are seeing in a number of recent model runs and other model tools that we use is that screaming jet, which has been straight west to east, is going to be breaking down in the next couple of weeks. And I think that is going to be the mechanism that is going to end the endless storms coming into California in about 7 or 8 days. And it's going to change the pattern eventually in the eastern part of the United States. You can see how toward the end of that forecast period, as we head into the week of Monday, January 23rd, that we start to see the jet actually with a lot of amplitude, and it runs up the west coast and across southern Canada, then down into the eastern part of the United States. So this is going to make for a more favorable setup for colder air to come in. Now, whether that means we also wind up seeing winter precipitation out of it is a whole nother matter. You can go from a pattern that's unfavorable to a pattern that is different, but still unfavorable for snow going forward. So let me back up now. We're going to look at the west and see the latest powerful storm that is off the coast of northwestern California. You see the rotation there. You can also see the big rotation out to the west of another animal in the Pacific, and the rains from that are racing eastward. So just as this first system pulls out, the next one is going to be coming in. And you're seeing a lot of lightning strikes here out in the open waters of the Pacific. These are really vigorous storms that have been coming in loaded with moisture, producing a lot of flash flooding in California and heavy snows of 100 inches or more in the Sierra Nevadas. Meanwhile, in the east, we do have some patchy clouds around today, and those clouds extend back up into the northern plains. We're seeing sky conditions vary from mostly cloudy to partly sunny, and I think that's going to be the case for the rest of today. Maybe we'll see a little bit more in the way of sun on Wednesday before the next weather system, now moving into the Rockies, winds up coming eastward. Radars are fairly quiet in the northeast. We're getting a little bit of snow shower activity in and around Michigan and into parts of northeastern Ohio. But other than that, it's fairly quiet up and down the eastern seaboard and all the way west until you get to Wyoming and Colorado. You see some snow there. And, of course, in California, the latest rounds of heavy rains have moved inland, with the heaviest precip now well inland in Northern California, and the snows continue up to the north. The Weather Prediction Center is indicating, in terms of flash flood risk, just want to point out, because of what's going on in the west, much of the state is either under a slight or moderate risk of flash flooding for today. And then as we look at the next day's outlook, we still have some slight to marginal risk of flash flooding up in northwestern California, and that even lingers on to day 3, which is Thursday into Friday. And taking a look at SPC, because we don't really see this too often, but we do have a marginal risk for severe weather in California and in parts of the Southwest. And in California, it comes with a 2% tornado risk for today and for tonight. As far as snow is concerned, as we take a look at the probability of at least a couple of inches of snow, mainly confined to northern Maine in the next 72 hours, particularly northernmost Maine, and also in the southwest. And in the long range, as we move beyond Friday, this is actually Friday into Saturday, the probability of at least 3 inches indicated for northernmost Maine, 30 to 50%. And in the mountains in the west, continuing to get pounded. Now, Saturday into Sunday, there is a 10 to 30% chance of a few inches from northeastern New York across Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And that chance lingers into Sunday into Monday. And then as we go Monday into Tuesday, not really much going on except, again, out in the west. So here's how it plays out. We have a slightly colder air mass that's built down into the eastern part of the United States. It's nothing special. It isn't even able to bring temperatures back down to near normal, but there's just a little chill in the air with that high to the north. That's going to keep things dry into early Thursday. And then we're going to start to see this next low come out of Oklahoma, run up into Ohio, head up into over Lake Ontario. That's going to bring rain to much of the Northeast. You're going to have to be up in northern half of Maine not to see any rain out of this. And we'll have rain probably later Thursday night into Friday morning. The low is forecast to move along. I know there were hints yesterday on some of the models of some kind of secondary low. 99 times out of 100, it doesn't happen, or if it does, you do get a second low that forms. It forms out way offshore, and recent model runs are showing that. So once this front goes by, it'll turn chilly for Friday and into the weekend. Nothing exceptionally cold, and we should probably be dry until maybe later Tuesday night, or Wednesday of next week, and that'll be the next chance that we'll get to see some showers. And quick pick at the longer range. Once we get past January 20th, there's a more significant colder high that's being indicated, and that kind of matches up with what I've been seeing in the long range forecast and in the ensembles and everything else that we look at in this non-winter winter that is going on. Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, 631-756-1125, the phone number, the website, omnitruevalue.com. So we'll leave you with this nice view of the U.S. satellite with all the storminess in the west, the Joe and Joe Weather Show, tonight at 7:35 Eastern Time on my YouTube channel. So be sure you come by and hang around for a while.